part of it. The second part, the US-UK has designated HTS a terrorist organization. I mean, when you look at the leader, Golani, he actually traces back to 2003, my time in Iraq, when he was fighting against us, and he was starting to follow the ISIS leadership and the Al-Qaeda leadership at that time. So he has ties to both those terrorist organizations, regardless of the moderate approach it seems that he's, at least on a public face, putting out now. We still have a $5 or $10 million bounty on Golani's head for what he did against us, back in 2003, 2005, and then fighting with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He actually headed al-Nusra Front when Al-Qaeda was trying to stand up during the Civil War. So that's the U.S. and UK perspective. But what you're seeing with the Arab states, you're seeing a combination of what they did to fight against the Syrian regime, but also some rapprochement that they've had in the last year to try to bring Assad back into the fold as an Arab state. Turkey, I can talk a long time about Turkey, but Turkey has its own initiative and own ideas of what it wants to see come out of this. The colors change and the shapes change, and that is the nature of the cultural, the religion, the different sects that are all inside Syria today. Now, they're vying for support. You had one of the key leaders, the HTS group, that kind of has led this charge, but you still have a different faction in the South. You've got U.S.-supported efforts out in the Far East. You've got Kurdish efforts that Turkey absolutely despises up in the north and in the far eastern part of Syria. And then, as I said, you had Arab states involved in complete fighting against Assad throughout there. And sometimes those Arab states would have their factions fight one another. So what's going to come out of this? I think if anyone says they're an expert, including myself, that we know what's going to come out, I think we're way too early to tell that. I think you have to look at this change being something that could be as significant as when Yugoslavia fell, and now you have all these different Balkan states there. You could see a fracturing of Syria into multiple states or something that's kind of forced together again. So it's really a dangerous time, even though I know that the leadership, the transition is talking about 6 to 18 months trying to bring some sort of rule to Syria. But Syria is kind of a hodgepodge of different cultures, tribes, and religions thrown in there. I think what Israel did, securing its borders, taking out some of the offensive weapons, is probably the prudent move, and then to kind of stay on the defensive. Remember, Syria's invaded Israel twice, unprovoked, in the 60s and the 70s.